KHTS.
Time is 4:09 on your hometown station, KHTS. And if you want to inject some class, some elegance, a little bit of spice in your life, I highly recommend swinging by the Santa Clarita Philharmonic's upcoming concert, Youth and Romance, taking place this Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center at COC. Joining me in studio to do a little bit of promo for the event from the Santa Clarita Philharmonic, it's Mark Elfont himself. How you doing, Mark?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. It's good to see you. Are you a doctor? Are you an
I have a
official
PhD
doctor?
in management.
Okay.
So
How did
can't
you...
write prescriptions, but...
Okay. How did you get involved with the Santa Clarita Philharmonic?
Well, I'm from Philadelphia originally. We've been out here now full-time, be 8 years in July. And back east, I played in community orchestras for about 35 years. I never was a professional musician, but I played all through school, and I stayed with it and played in community orchestras. And I was also on the boards of several of the orchestras. We came out here, and there was no classical music in the area, so we go down. In fact, just this past Friday, we were down at Disney Hall for the LA Phil, and we still do that. But we wanted to do something, so we started an orchestra.
I saw that event on my SeatGeek app, and it was a pretty expensive event. Now, how much is this event coming up this Sunday?
It's very reasonable. It's $12 for adults and $8 for students and seniors.
Is that right? What instrument did you play when you
I
did?
played trumpet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you're not playing anymore?
No, I actually filled in a couple years ago. We had a need for additional trumpet, so I did fill in. But,
Okay.
I don't practice regularly, and you lose your lip very rapidly.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're a little bit rusty, huh?
Absolutely.
So, Mark, the big draw for this concert, not only is it the last concert of the season, but also this is the performance that features the winners of the 4th annual Student Concerto Competition.
That's right.
How many students entered this year into the competition?
We had about 8 applicants. We had auditions back in February, and this year there were just 2 that really stood out above everybody else. They were all great.
Right.
They all have great technique, and they all play very well. But 2 of them just they put so much feeling into the work. It's really special. And the first one we have is Samantha Anderson. She's going to be playing it's called a Fantasy for Flute by Hui, is the composer, French composer. It's just a beautiful piece. And the first time we're having a cello. We're having Samaya Derrick, who's playing the Elgar Cello Concerto. Very, very moving piece. Now, the Fantasy for Flute is just one piece. It runs about 8 minutes. The Cello Concerto is a 4-movement piece. She's only doing the first movement and then the very end of the last minute to give it a really snazzy finish.
Nice. So are these solo performances, or does she have the orchestra in the
playing
back?
with the orchestra.
Awesome.
The full orchestra background. These works are somewhat challenging for the orchestra. This whole concert happens to be very challenging for the orchestra. I've got to take the blame for that. The other pieces, now the students select their own pieces. When they apply to audition, they tell us what they want to play. And there are 2 issues that I have to look at. Number one, can we get the music?
Right.
Sometimes they have pieces that we just can't get the music for, so we can't do that. And then also we want to make sure it's not something that was done in the previous year or even 2 years ago. So we want to keep things fresh. So these all pass that criteria. So they select that music. But the other 3 pieces we're starting off with Reznicek's Overture to Donna Diana. Donna Diana is a comic opera and written by Reznicek, and it's a great piece. It's got a lot of movement to it. Again, very challenging. The next piece is one of my favorites. I played it in orchestras back east. It's called the Overture in C, or In Memoriam, by Sullivan. The same Sullivan of Gilbert and Sullivan fame before he teamed up with Gilbert to write the operettas. Very, very moving piece. It's interesting in the program notes. He was commissioned to write some overtures for the BBC, and he wrote the first one, and the second one he really didn't have a theme for, but his father had just passed away, and he wrote this as a tribute to his father, and that's why
It's a moving piece.
Yes, it's subtitled In Memoriam because of that.
Right. So taking me back to this competition, is it an American Idol type contest where they audition in front of a panel? Who judges them?
We have our music director, Jeff Gilbert, and our concert master, Laney White. They are the adjudicators. And, they perform. They come with an accompanist, and they just perform in front of us, and then we ask them some questions. One of the questions that Jeff always asks is, what were you thinking about when you were playing? And it's interesting because some of them really are pressed to come up with some answers. But the ones who are really into it will tell you, well, I picture myself walking through a forest and I come across a brook with a babbling brook in this part where it moves along, and then there's a big open meadow. So it shows that they're really thinking about what they're playing and they're putting some emotion into it.
Yeah, they're just not blowing into the trumpet or anything like that.
Exactly.
You know? I would like to be a guest conductor one of these concerts. Do you guys ever do that?
No, we haven't. It's interesting. I always thought I wanted to be a conductor, and when I played back east, I had a chance. One evening when we were rehearsing, our conductor couldn't be there, so I stepped up and conducted. And it is incredibly difficult. First of all, you have to look at the score. The score has as many lines as there are different instruments playing. First violin, second violin, viola, etc. First trumpet, second trumpet. And you have to take the whole page in. You can't look at one line because you have to see what everybody else is doing.
So you have to know what you're doing. You can't just get up there and wave your hands around.
No, it's just not waving a stick in front of people.
I think I'd be really good. I think I'd be really demonstrative. I'd even bring my own baton. Is it called a baton? Is it called a stick?
No,
what is
baton.
It?
That's right. It's
is
a baton.
Right?
Yes.
So the guy who's going to be the conductor this Sunday, does he use a baton or does
Absolutely.
he use his hands?
No, he uses his baton.
Who is the conductor?
Jeff Gilbert. He's the music director at Rio Norte Junior High School, and he's been our music director and conductor since we started.
We're talking to Mark Elfont. They've got their last concert of the season of the Santa Clarita Philharmonic. That is coming up this Sunday, 3 p.m. How long does the show run?
It'll be less than 2 hours. We start at 3, and we'll be out there by between 4:30 and 4:45.
Is there a
with
dress
an intermission?
code? Yeah. Oh, there is an intermission.
Intermission, yeah, short intermission. The last number is a major symphony. It's Schumann Symphony Number 3, the Rhenish. Very, very beautiful and challenging piece.
Is there a dress code? Do we have to
No,
be
for the
dressed
audience,
to the nines?
no. The orchestra is going to be dressed, but the audience is come as you are.
Oh, okay, yeah. What about phones? Do we have a phone policy? I don't like going to a concert and seeing people
I
have
ask
their
everybody to
phones out.
silence their phones and
Yeah.
pagers with whatever they have. Yes, no, we definitely discourage any phones.
We're talking to Mark Elfont of the Santa Clarita Philharmonic. For tickets and more information about the Santa Clarita Philharmonic's upcoming Youth and Romance concert, which is going to be featuring the 2 winners of the Student Concerto Competition, the big competition that goes on every single year. It's taking place this Sunday at the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center. If you want some more tickets or more info and tickets, go to canyonspac.com. There you can also find more about the Arts for Youth program, which exposes students to kind of visual performing arts when, at a time when school arts programs really are kind of underfunded. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. Now we're very. I think for all the schools in the area, the different schools have different programs, but everybody has marching bands, so that's great. It gives the kid exposure. But things are not that bad in Santa Clarita. They're much worse in LAUSD.
Which is a shame, isn't it?
My grandkids are in an LAUSD school in a very, very good area, and the parents support those programs. They put money in, so there can be arts and music and all other kinds of things. Yeah.
Well, you can be a patron of the art. Go buy your tickets, canyonspac.com. You can also be a supporter of the arts at canyonspac.com. You can check out the complete schedule of upcoming events. You can even become a supporter by making a donation directly to the organization. He's Mark Elfont. He's joining me in studio. Thanks for coming in, Mark, and
Thank you.
I'll
It's
see you the
always a
next
pleasure.
time.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck this Sunday. canyonspac.com. Go check it out. Youth and Romance, where the Santa Clarita Performing Arts, or Santa Clarita Philharmonic, is going to be making their final showing of the season. Time is 4:18. Time for a quick break. We'll have traffic coming up.